There we go. Let me move this out of the way. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at the Winter Scholars Studio. I'm Julie. I'm a second-year master's student in the Jackson School International Studies program focusing on Japan, and my research pertains to the new cyber initiative that Japan is launching in 2021 of this year called the Digital Agency, and what that means for Japan's defensive capabilities as a whole. So this is an extremely important issue because cybersecurity is an imminent domain for everyone, and Japan is responding immediately with a new organization called the Digital Agency. And Japan, as still the third largest GDP in the world, is extremely important when understanding cybersecurity as a whole. And one issue Japan faces with growing cybersecurity capability is Japan cannot have war potential per its constitution. However, in spite of that clause, Japan still has, I believe, around the 7th or 8th largest military capability in the world. But then comes the question of gray zone, non-traditional domains like space, and in my case, cyber. So how do we make sense of this? From the perspective of international relations theory, we use theory as a framework to understand what Japan's strategy, or any strategy, in the world. So to understand why Japan is pursuing this change, i.e. creating an organization to centralize cyber capability, I use theory and then have 3 explanations for why Japan is pursuing this new capability. And when viewing neoclassical realism and any international relations theory in itself, there's the security dilemma, or the paradox, where if you build up security, even though it looks defensive to you, it looks offensive to others. So my first explanation falls in line with soft balancing, specifically non-military soft balancing. So rather than essentially me attacking another nation, if I were Japan, I would be trying to undermine their sovereignty. So a really good way to think about soft balancing is the Russian hacks, allegedly, of the 2016 United States election, and how cyber is a very important arena for shifting into soft balancing. So essentially, I propose soft balancing as a way for Japan, of relatively declining power, to leverage and balance itself in this very difficult neighborhood, i.e. China, Russia, etc. The second explanation, so neoclassical realism not only explains the international system, but the domestic response, and thus the public perception of military capabilities and how cyber fits into that. I propose that because of more information pertinent to individuals, such as the My Number or your social security number going online, I believe the public perception will be much more warm towards the digital agency. And then the third explanation is the threat perception, i.e. threats are escalating. Russia in particular, 2020 attacks against several Japanese firms, including Capcom, millions of dollars in damages. Additionally, North Korea can leverage its power through cyberspace, as we've seen in the 2014 Sony attacks towards the United States, and what the implications for Japan are. And furthermore, China, I believe we have the least knowledge on China's capabilities relative to Russia and South Korea, but they are still perceived as a threat capable of cyber attacks towards Japan. So what does the creation of a new agency focused on cybersecurity and IT policy means? It means that Japan is diversifying its toolbox to meet new challenges instead of pursuing a war path, as many who don't understand the full scope of Japan's international security may believe. And this is very similar to in 2013, we saw the creation of a National Security Council similar to the United States to centralize response. And will this be enough? I believe they won't, but they are a significant improvement because Japan is severely lacking in cybersecurity relative to the United States, Russia, China. And theoretically, because the digital agency will not only centralize policy, but employ experts who are educated thoroughly in cyber policy, IT policy from the public and private sector, there should be a much better policy response. So I anticipate any questions in the end. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to briefly try to deconstruct a relatively complicated topic, and thank you.